The earthquake, which tore apart Christchurch and its surrounds early on Saturday morning, was felt hardest in the farming communities west of the city. Darfield was closest to the epicentre. Many locals' houses are beyond repair. The timing couldn't have been worse. 4:35 a.m. was just before morning milking, and early concerns centred on power supply to dairy sheds and rotary platforms that had been dislodged. By Sunday, however, normal service had resumed on all North Canterbury dairy farms, but arable farmers weren't so lucky. At Kerwee, just east of Darfield, Gary Wilson suffered only minor damage to his farmhouse. Outside, it was a different story.
We had two silos that have just tipped over and the whole lot's come out. They're just a complete write-off, and we've got probably another two that have got to lean on, but probably about 250 tonnes of wheat spilled on the ground.
All counted, the quake tipped over nearly 50 silos in the area and left many others teetering, at the mercy of aftershocks. Murray Rowlands took on a grain and seed role with Federated Farmers to get things done. He had no idea just what his job description would extend to.
We were fairly flat out, as everyone would have been, at 4:30 in the morning. There was no snooze button on that alarm.
Murray was no different to most Cantabrians, jolted awake at 4:30 on Saturday morning. But unlike most, 24 hours later he was still up, taking calls from farmers with grain on the ground and no way to pick it up.
There's been quite a bit of work go on. We've just been coordinating with farmers and trucking firms that have these vacuum grain vacs to help out on this side of the river. Some have come from as far away as Methven, Ashburton, so it's been good.
It's thought around 1,000 tonnes of grain were deposited back onto the ground it came from, but a phone around locals saw 8,000 tonnes of extra storage space offered up. Contractors' grain vacuums a lifesaver.
As long as weather hangs off, I'd say we'll get 90–95% of that grain back.
The clean-up effort was a delicate one. Most of the grain was mill grade, and using a tractor to pick it up would contaminate it with tyre mud.
With so much grain still on farm on hand, we had to find room to put it once it had been picked up. As I said, with the grain vacs, we use them as opposed to an auger or loader, because you don't contaminate the grain as the same as driving over it with the loaders.
The weak global grain market means Canterbury silos are fuller than usual for this time of year. And to make a big job worse, the weather wasn't cooperating. Canterbury's signature nor'west arch, an ominous welcome sign for a southerly change.
We're sort of worried about this weather change coming up from the south, so change in weather we're trying to beat that, so the weather doesn't get to the wheat. There's a lot of milling wheat that's been tipped out of their silos.
On Saturday morning, the plates beneath Canterbury moved by around 5 metres. That sent the ground moving one way and 35 tonnes of grain moving the other. The outcome was easy to predict. What's less certain is just how the damage will be paid for.
A lot of these will not be insured, not even under the Earthquake Commission, which is we'll have to have a look at and talk about with farmers as to what's going to happen there.
I may change my mind on that. They're very convenient, and they're actually our newest silos, the ones that have tipped over, and so we might have to change our mind. And we're not used to having earthquakes, I guess, but it only has to happen once every so often to make you think it's not the way to go.
Well, once is enough by the look of it, isn't it?
I reckon once is enough, yeah.
Reserve Bank Governor Alan Bollard was due in town on Thursday to talk with farmers about the state of the grain industry, but the visit's been postponed in favour of an emergency earthquake meeting. Murray Rowlands hopeful the disaster will attract an even more important public servant.
John Key, can you come on Thursday night and talk to us?
This time the Prime Minister might just be listening. Michael Wright, Country 99 TV News.